The Construction and Planning Agency of the Ministry of Interior is launching a project to conserve the eastern coastal areas. The traditional sea territories of the indigenous residents are also covered in the project. At the recent meeting, local representatives expressed their fears that their cultural and traditional way of life may be affected by the conservation move. The Construction and Planning Agency of the Ministry of Interior is launching a conservation scheme which covers the eastern coast with area spans from Yilan to Taitung. The agency says it can prevent the natural resources from depletion.
The government started planning the conservation project around 1984. The scheme is designed for corporations or government authorities to propose their development projects for official assessment. According to the scheme, the Minister of Interior will ensure that the new development in the area will not affect natural resources and landmarks there.
The Eco Protection area spans about 280,000 hectares, which largely cover the traditional territories of the indigenous people. At the explanatory meeting, the agency promised the locals that their traditional maritime territories, culture and life will not be jeopardized. But from the past experiences in which existing eco-protection methods have been affecting locals' way of life and causing land disputes, many still have their doubts.
After we set the boundaries of the protective zones, your first concerns are whether the conservation measures will restrict your fishing or traditional maritime rights. I have to reiterate that this scheme is simply an administrative guideline for government units and is not made to restrict any personal activities.
Irak mapatayay, pakarang kita, iriar, yaro. Anirak patalo mahay, pakarang kita, tiniriar, tinyaro. Or, rip, numitaw mataasay na tiyaho. Tahamatini. Kuna hayan mitani tora, riar ato aro. Clear hano sa nini. Makuan to numikuanay. Makuan kuna riar. Sa ito kakita mitsumos.
Some locals are angry that the government is adding another supervising unit on top of the current East Coast National Scenic Area Administration. Apart from the East Coast Administration, now the government adds the Construction and Planning Agency. Does our land deserve these multiple constraints? During the meeting, the locals voiced their concerns but failed to reach a consensus with the agency. They are waiting to see if the eco-protection measures will restrict and affect their way of life and traditional culture. TITV Weekly.